Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we're back for another exciting reading of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Haribol. Okay, so
Canto 4, Chapter 9, Text 20 and 21.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead continued, My dear Dhruva, I shall award you the glowing planet known as the Pole Star, which will continue to exist even after the dissolution at the end of the millennium. No one has ever ruled this planet, which is surrounded by all the solar system's planets and stars. All the luminaries in the sky circumambulate this planet, just as bulls tread around a central pole for the purpose of crushing grains. Keeping the pole star to their right, all the stars inhabited by the great sages like Dharma, Agni, Kashyapa and Sukra circumambulate this planet, which continues to exist even after the dissolution of all others. Purport. Although the pole star existed before its occupation by Dhruva Maharaj, it had no predominating deity. Dhruvaloka, our pole star, is the centre for all other stars and solar systems, for all of them circle around Dhruvaloka, just as a bull crushes grains by walking around and around a central pole. Dhruva wanted the best of all planets, and although it was a childish prayer, the Lord satisfied his demand. A small child may demand something from his father which his father has never given to anyone else, yet out of affection the father offers it to the child. Similarly, this unique planet Dhruvaloka was offered to Maharaj Dhruva. The specific significance of this planet is that until the entire universe is annihilated, this planet will remain, even during the devastation which takes place during the night of Lord Brahma. There are two kinds of dissolutions, one during the night of Lord Brahma and one at the end of Lord Brahma's life. At the end of Brahma's life, selected personalities go back home, back to Godhead. Dhruva Maharaj is one of them. The Lord assured Dhruva that he would exist beyond the partial dissolution of this universe. Thus, at the end of the complete dissolution, Dhruva Maharaj would go directly to Vaikuntha Loka, to a spiritual planet in the spiritual sky. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments on this connection that Dhruva Loka is one of the Lokas like Svetadvip, Mathura and Dwarka. They are all eternal places in the kingdom of God, which is described in the Bhagavad Gita, Tad Dharma Paramam, and in the Vedas, Om Tad Vishnu Parama Padam Sada Pashyanti Suraya. The words Parastat Kalpa Vashinam, transcendental to the planets inhabited after the dissolution, refer to the Vaikuntha planets. In other words, Dhruva Maharaj's promotion to the Vaikuntha Lokas was guaranteed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Well, I think that's quite a sweet deal.
To say the least.
Yeah. I think that's a win-win. Here we have this young lad. He's only 5. What does he know anyway, for heaven's sakes? And he's like,
Seems like he knows quite a lot, but yeah.
Well, yeah, because Vishnu put his concha on his head and enlightened him. No, I'm just saying from a layman's point of view. He's a kid, king's son. He already had a good luck. Well, he didn't have that good luck because his dad rejected him, so there's issues there. But materially, I guess, or sort of. But anyway, Vishnu's like, I know you've now had to change your heart because you purified, you come to your senses, but you know what, I'm still going to fulfill your material desires. But when Krishna fulfills material desires, it's beyond that something you can even comprehend. You think if someone gives you a wish, yeah, I'll do this and this, but Krishna is totally unlimited and the source of everything. He can take it to the next level, you know, and beyond. So he gives him his own planet. It's not going to be devastated in any way when it's a partial dissolution, but when it's the actual dissolution, you're guaranteed to go back to Godhead. And in the meantime, you're also going to be a devotee, so it's not like you're going to be suffering the dualities of material life and whatnot. I mean, that's quite a sweet deal, really.
Although we will see later.
Well, let's not do any bloopers.
Is it bloopers?
Yeah. Why is he telling you what's happening?
It's not a blooper. I think it's called a spoiler.
Bloopers, spoilers.
Bloopers where I say like, oh my goodness, I forgot my line. Beep, beep. And that's
alright, stop spoiling it for everyone.
Alright.
Although Prabhupada must probably do it, because sometimes he does that in the Prabhupada.
He already said he's going back to Godhead. I mean, goodness. Alright, text 22. After your father goes to the forest and awards you the rule of his kingdom, you will rule continuously the entire world for 36,000 years, and all your senses will continue to be as strong as they are now. You will never become old.
There you go.
Purport. In the Satyuga, people generally live for 100,000 years. Dhruva Maharaj's ruling the world for 36,000 years was quite possible in those days. So that's basically showing that, now I need to check back because I thought this was in a different age. I didn't think this was in Satyuga. For some reason I thought it was in Treta Yuga. But anyway, what we can see is that although we're, for us 36,000 years seems like, that's ridiculous. But in those ages, in those times, people lived for a longer duration of life. It was easier because everything, the entire atmosphere was more conducive. So we often discuss this because it's described that the way that the demigods live for so long, especially Lord Brahma, which has a phenomenal amount of a duration of life, is because his body is comprised predominantly of pure knowledge or pure intelligence and goodness. So when you keep something in the state of goodness, it lasts longer. So when you clean something regularly, when you do it, it lasts longer when you look after it and maintain it. And people, yes, theoretically, and relationships, yeah. So the idea is that, of course, in a time when the mode of goodness is more prominent, then people will live longer lives, healthier lives, and sustain themselves in different ways. So like that.
Text 23, the Lord continued, sometime in the future your brother Uttama will go hunting in the forest, and while absorbed... Spoiler
alert, don't listen if you don't want to know what happens in the future.
No, but we can read this because it's not your purports, it's the...
Okay, go ahead.
It's not the Uddhava Gita or Jnana Gita. Uttama will go hunting in the forest, and while absorbed in hunting, he will be killed. Your stepmother Suruchi, being maddened upon the death of her son, will go to search him out in the forest, but she will be devoured by a forest fire. This is a stepmom that pushed him off his dad's lap. This is what happened, you see. Purport. Dhruva Maharaj came to the forest to search out the Supreme Personality of Godhead with a revenging spirit upon his stepmother. His stepmother had insulted Dhruva, who was not an ordinary person but a great Vaishnava. An offence at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava is the greatest offence in this world. Because of having insulted Dhruva Maharaj, Suruchi would become mad upon the death of her son and would enter a forest fire. and thus her life would be ended. This was specifically mentioned by the Lord to Dhruva because he was determined for revenge against her. From this we should take the lesson that we should never try to insult a Vaishnav. Not only should we not insult a Vaishnav, but we should not insult anyone unnecessarily.
Anyone.
When Suruchi consulted Dhruva Maharaj...
Insulted.
Oh, what? When Suruchi insulted Dhruva Maharaj, he was just a child. She, of course, did not know that Dhruva was a great recognized Vaishnav, and so her offence was committed unknowingly. Oh, there you go. When one serves a Vaishnav unknowingly, one still gets the good result. And if one unknowingly insults a Vaishnav, one suffers the bad result. A Vaishnav is especially favoured by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Pleasing him or displeasing him directly affects the pleasure and displeasure of the Supreme Lord. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his 8 stanzas of prayer to the spiritual master, has sung Yashya Prasada Bhagavat Prasada. By pleasing the spiritual master, who is a pure Vaishnav, one pleases the personality of Godhead. But if one displeases the spiritual master, one does not know where he is going.
Power of Guru Seva.
The power of faith in the Guru. For I thought it was interesting that, I didn't realise Dhruva was a recognised great Vaishnav, to be honest with you.
Well, he wasn't. She didn't know, and it wasn't so clear.
No, I know, but now in this purport, it's all about how he's a great Vaishnav.
Because he is, because God's appeared in front of him. He's in the pages of the Bhagavatam, and the Lord touched his head. The Lord manifested before him.
I know, but that's not implied here. It's actually like it says his stepmother had insulted Dhruva, who was not an ordinary person, but a great Vaishnav. It doesn't say who became a great Vaishnav. And then again it says, that she insulted him. And just like you get the benefits if you serve a Vaishnav and not know they're a Vaishnav, you also get the suffer. So I didn't realise, that wasn't sold to me. It was just that he was the king's son. Like, it's not Prahlad Maharaj, put it that way. We know he was a great devotee.
No, wait. But how did you know, at what point did Prahlad Maharaj in that whole story become a great devotee?
He was born a great devotee.
How? How do you know that?
Narada Muni was preaching to him in the womb. It was understood. And who was it? Someone saved him. Someone. Because it was like, you can't kill...
Narada Muni.
No, you can't kill... Who's his mum? Right, Hiranyakashipu's mum. You can't...
Hiranyakashipu's wife.
You can't...
Ayadu.
You can't kill her because she's going to give birth to... Like, she's carrying in her womb.
Yeah, they took her to kill the kid in the womb.
Yeah.
So you can't abort. And
right.
It was Mindra who took her.
Right, and Narada Muni gave shelter.
Saved, yeah.
So we understand that. We know there's a great devotee. But it's not implied in the pastime, unless anyone knows differently when we're reading it, that he becomes a great devotee, yes, and that too by the blessings of the Lord's conch shell, and the instructions of Narada Muni, but
yeah, I think and I get your point, and I recognize that yes, there's nowhere that it says he's a great devotee before he was in the womb, but then that's the question. Was he a great devotee just waiting to manifest his greatness? Or was he just a person who became a great devotee because of the contact and mercy of the spiritual master?
Yeah. I think, what the point is, it doesn't imply that he's a devotee. No, I don't know what you're saying.
Well, listen.
I think my comment on this is...
I got your comment. You want me to reflect it back to you?
I think the viewers need us to move on. Sorry, everybody.
Sorry, all viewers.
Sorry, Sally and Don't.
All of you.
No, it's more than no.
The two of you are
That's
out
an
there.
insult to the. No, you shouldn't say that because
Well,
that's
you said two people's
And
names.
while we're here, I'd like to do a shout out to what's the name has to go on now? I want to do a shout out. Yogapati Prabhu. Thank you very much, Yogapati Prabhu. You're always commenting on our readings, so thank you for watching. He's Janitai's mentee.
No, we're friends.
Alright.
He's sweet
Sorry.
devotee.
See you on Wednesday, hopefully.
Bhagavan.
Alright. Let's text 24.
Oh, we've moved on pretty rapidly there from that conversation.
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay, text 24, and we'll conclude with this.
Yes.
See how long it is. 'Cause I don't know. The Lord continued, I am the heart of all sacrifices. You will be able to perform many great sacrifices and also give great charities. In this way, you will be able to enjoy the blessings of material happiness in this life, and at the time of your death, you will be able to remember me. See, I mentioned sacrifices, which makes me think it's Treta Yuga and not Satya Yuga. But anyway. The most important factor in this verse is the Lord's instructions regarding how to remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead at the end of life. Ante Narayana Smriti. The result of whatever we do in executing spiritual activities is successful if we can remember Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This program of constant remembrance can be disturbed by many things, but Dhruva Maharaj's life would be so pure, as assured by the Lord himself, that Dhruva would never forget him. Thus, at the time of his death, he would remember the Supreme Lord, and before his death he would enjoy this material world, not by sense gratification, but by performing great sacrifices. As stated in the Vedas, when one performs great sacrifices, he must give charity, not only to the Brahmanas, but also to the Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. It is assured here that Dhruva Maharaj would be able to perform such activities. In the age of Kali, however, the great sacrifice is the performance of Sankirtan Yagya, Harinam Sankirtan Ki. Our Krishna consciousness movement is designed to teach people and to learn ourselves the exact instruction of the personality of Godhead. In this way we shall continuously perform the Sankirtan Yagya and continuously chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Then, at the end of our lives, we shall certainly be able to remember Krishna, and our program of life will be successful. In this age, distribution of prasad has replaced distribution of money. No one has sufficient money to distribute. But if we distribute Krishna prasad as far as possible, this is more valuable than the distribution of money. Wow, this is nice. Very nice purport. So, yeah, very powerful what Prabhupada is saying here. That, as I mentioned about sacrifices, so, that Dhruva Maharaj is going to live a long life, but his long life is not going to be in vain and just for sense gratification. He's going to perform many, many sacrifices. And also I like this last statement about what Prabhupada says about, our Krishna conscious movement is designed to teach people and for us to learn ourselves. Really powerful. And the exact instruction of the personality of God. So in this way, we shall continuously perform the Sankirtan Yagya and continuously chant the Hare Krishna mantra. So then Prabhupada takes the opportunity to make a comparison of the principle of sacrifice between the age that Dhruva Maharaj is living in and the age that we live in, which is now. We also perform sacrifice, but we do it, which is Yagya, but we do it through chanting Hare Krishna. So like that. So very powerful. And I like the last point, that Krishna Prasad is what is distributed now after a sacrifice, as opposed to money, because previously there would be riches given to all the four orders. But now, if we just distribute prasad, then that's enough, and actually, Prabhupada says here, it's better than money. So, very nice.
definitely nice, isn't it, to get something to eat.
So on that happy note, I guess we can
Get something to eat.
get something to eat. Thank you all very much.
You.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki.
Jai.